Surprise Squad is sponsored by United Community Bank.
The Fox Carolina Surprise Squad is back, and you're about to meet a local mom who is doing incredible things in Greenville.
After her daughter was diagnosed with a rare genetic disorder, she got to work creating a foundation that supports parents and kids from all walks of life. From disability support to foster care and adoption counseling, Robin Smith helps them all, and Margaret Ann Carter has this story.
To be a parent of a child with a disability is very isolating.
Robin Smith knows this firsthand. She and her husband Brett are the parents of 5 children. The youngest, Selah, now 5, was diagnosed with a rare genetic condition. So rare, in fact, that she's one of only 200 people in the U.S. known to have it.
And I think it scares me because you don't know what the future holds.
As Selah got older, Robin started looking for places to take her daughter, to help her connect with other kids and find a community. But she says it was tough.
And so I started looking for all these inclusive organizations, and there's some amazing ones, but there's not enough.
So a few years ago, Robin arranged for a parents' night out.
Let's make it for foster parents and parents of kids with disabilities. I never thought people would just want to drop their children off with a random stranger.
But sure enough, they did.
When they found out, that I had experience in foster care and I was a mom of a child with a disability, they knew we background checked. I had to go on a wait list. And these are people I've never met.
What started as a once-a-month parents' night grew into the Selah Gray Foundation, named after her daughter.
I just want to help fill the gaps for kids that feel like they don't have a place.
Through the foundation, she counsels parents through this tough world of fostering and adoption, as well as disability advocacy. And for the last 2 years, Robin's team of volunteers have filled yet another gap.
So most of the children I work with, they've been denied summer camp. They can't go because they're not potty trained. They can't go because maybe they're a little aggressive, or they're nonverbal, or maybe they just feel like they don't fit in because there's nobody like them.
Not only does she not deny summer camp, her camp keeps families together.
Sisters are super close, but one is in a wheelchair and the other one's not, so it automatically divided them, and they just wanted to do camp together. Well, they got to do camp together, and it's been phenomenal.
While the list of families she helps is growing, the funding can't keep up.
So I may not have the funding, but I'm gonna find a way. We try to do fundraising activities, but it is hard because I work 2 jobs plus I do the foundation.
When the Fox Carolina Surprise Squad received a nomination from Robin's husband and learned about all of the ways Robin is changing lives on a very small budget, we got to work arranging an interview. We arrived as the last day of summer camp was underway. Face painting, costumes, and even a DJ cranking out the tunes for some very happy campers.
We gotta tell Mom and Dad that you won Hungry Hungry Hippos today.
Robin thought we were just there for a story about how the camp is helping families. But
Robin, I've got to tell you, we are actually with Fox Carolina Surprise Squad, and we love everything that you are doing for all these families and these children here. It's so important. And I'll tell you that we have partnered with United Community Bank, and they are here with us today. They want to present you with a special gift today. This is Michelle with United Community Bank, and Michelle, I know that you want to say something with Robin as well.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for everything that you do for these children, and you just pour your heart and soul into them, and we just want to say thank you, and we hope that this will help you just a little bit to make more of a difference.
All my volunteers have begged to do a Christmas camp for these kids. So I would love to put all this towards a Christmas break camp for the kids that are part of our foundation.
the happiness, the joy that this foundation now gives to others came from one very special, very rare little girl.
Say hey. Say hey. She's a miracle.
Yeah.
She's changed everything. She's changed my career path. She's changed the way that our family lives. She changes the way that I see the world.
So glad our surprise squad was able to arrange that amazing surprise for Robin, and what an amazing story. Thank you so much, United Community Bank, for making this surprise possible. And if you at home would like some more information about Robin's amazing organization, that website is on your screen right now. You can donate, volunteer, or just find out some more information about the services offered. And if you have someone in your life who's making a big difference, maybe someone who could use a little visit from our surprise squad, get your phones out right now
and scan this QR code on your screen. It'll take you straight to our nomination page, or you can always find our Surprise Squad under the Community tab on foxcarolina.com.